want to see how loud my dishwasher is. Sounds like someone's peeing. I think it's like almost done. The joys of living in an apartment is you start to figure out all the things that are annoying about it. Like, for example, I'm sure in the middle of this video, like in my other video, you're going to hear the tapping in my wall. Yeah, that's the pipes. Oh, there it goes. It's probably going to be decently loud. Hopefully not too loud, because I'm not going to stop it, because I make not even quality content. It's not even mediocre content. It's just content. Yeah. Guys, I'm Kat, and welcome to my channel. Not even going to say welcome back, because, I mean, I guess welcome back. Hey. Welcome back to the echoey apartment with the tapping wall and the dishwasher in the background. Super exciting, super high roller here. But today we are going to be doing another state urban legends video. I'm going to try to do this as much as I can before I lose interest, to be honest. But so many states have so many really cool urban legends that I find extremely fascinating. Some of them are creepy, some of them make no sense, some of them are just plain weird. And the state that we are going to talk about is Washington. Honestly, there is no rhyme or reason as to how I pick the states. I just pick one. Typically, I'll just type one into Google and then whichever state pops up. The next state I want to do, though, is more relevant. And I did pick for a specific reason, but we'll talk about that later. But today's state urban legends is some urban legends in Washington. Also, I have the memory of a guppy, so I will be looking at my paper of stuff. Just so you know, if I'm ever like looking down to, you know, it's either because I feel weird, or because someone's watching me outside, or because I have a terrible memory. Fair warning. So one of the most relevant things, urban legends that come with Washington is Sasquatch, to be honest. Washington has some of the most sightings of Sasquatch than really any other state, racking up to maybe 500 plus sightings. So many people have seen them. Even a guy who was, I believe, what was it? An armed forces soldier. I was going to say soldier. He's also a park ranger. He said that he actually found some Sasquatch, not just one, but some, and he actually fed them some food, and that they speak their own language, which I find super interesting. And he also said that, and I quote, that they are 7 feet tall and over 500 pounds. Now, when I read that, though, it's like, my mind goes to, how do you know that? I mean, 7 feet tall, that's obvious, but how do you know how much they weigh? I mean, granted, if they're 7 feet tall and pretty stocky, they could be 500 pounds, but there are people that are 7 feet tall and aren't 500 pounds. So I'm just like, did they weigh them? And then I get an imagery of someone weighing a Sasquatch in the middle of the forest. Anyway, Washington has more sightings of Sasquatch really than any other state. A lot of states have sightings of Sasquatch, especially states that have a lot of foresty area, but Washington really takes the cake on seeing Sasquatch. And I'm one of those people that believes that it could exist. I mean, I don't understand why it couldn't. Like, I believe in the Loch Ness Monster. I don't understand how that couldn't exist. There have been creatures that have been around for millions of years, so why couldn't they be? Okay, the next one we're going to talk about is called Mel's Holes. So basically this is, and I'm going to say this wrong, located near Ellensburg, Washington, and it is a bottomless pit. Now, there have been stories of bottomless pits all over the country, all over the world, I'm sure. And typically a lot of people believe that these are bottomless pits that either go straight through the earth or go to hell or some other dimension, which I find really fascinating. And also it's like, where the hell are these holes going? Granted, the earth is quite large, and chances are it's really not bottomless. There's probably a bottom, it's just really far down. But anyway, according to a legend, there was a man who dumped his dog into this pit, and then a few hours later, that same dog came trotting out of the forest, completely alive, completely unscathed. So this hole was found by a man named Mel's Water, and according to him and a man named Red Elk and several other people, at a certain time of the day, a black beam will be seen coming out of the bottomless pit. And what else? And it's been described as like a dark column thing, which I find really fascinating. It's like a straight shadow. Like imagine if just like a beam of light, like regular light, was coming at a pole, but it's actually like a dark shadow, which is actually kind of creepy. A lot of people have said that animals actually avoid this hole and just don't go by it. But the thing is, there is no actual real evidence on this actual hole. Not that I could find. Granted, I didn't really do deep research, but there hasn't been really any evidence alluding to this actually happening. But I do find it interesting and a little weird, because just the thought of like, okay, I believe in a bottomless pit makes sense, okay, but a black beam or shadow coming out of it just makes me wonder, like, why? A lot of people believe that maybe there are lizard people living underneath the surface, especially if you watch Doctor Who, that really supports it. And possibly if there are lizard people like in Doctor Who living under the surface, you could be seeing part of their city. I don't know. A lot of people believe that aliens lay dormant underneath the earth and you could be seeing something like that, or you could just be seeing a shadow and think that it's coming from the hole. I don't know, but there have been many stories of bottomless pits, of people losing things. People will throw garbage into bottomless pits, stuff like that. And it really makes me wonder, like, where exactly they go. And, like, if there's just a huge pile of crap just at the very bottom of it. So every state, a lot of legends I've noticed are kind of branch-offs of other legends. And a lot of states have very similar legends. But this one is kind of different. So this is called the Gravity Hill from, I can never say this, Prosser, Washington. And basically this is an area in Washington that is said to really actually defy physics and gravity. So basically the way it goes, you go up to the edge of the hill, you put your car in neutral, and then you take your foot off the brake, and supposedly your car will start to roll up the hill, hit the crest of the hill, and then go down without any of control. Now there are some places that apparently, like there's a graveyard, I don't remember where it is, but there's a graveyard where if you stop in a specific area of the graveyard, you put your car in neutral, take your foot off the brake, and it'll start to roll backwards. A lot of people say that maybe it's the spirits trying to get you out of the graveyard. Some people say you're on a little hill, of course you're going to go backwards. But this one actually has a really sad legend behind it. So a lot of people think that it's an optical illusion, but a lot of people believe that it's defying gravity. But the really sad part of this was, apparently there were two girls that were abused and murdered in a barn nearby. And the legend is that what's actually pushing you up the hill isn't the defiance of gravity, it's actually their spirits pushing the car up the hill so you don't meet the same fate as they did. There's another legend of a girl that you can actually see late at night. She's extremely wet because it said that she either was murdered and thrown into the canal nearby or just drowned in the canal, and that you can see her coming out of the canal, which is actually dried up now. This one kind of stuck out to me because it's really creepy. I love creepy, ghosty things, but at the same time, it's also really sad, the thought that what's really pushing you up the hill isn't the defiance of gravity, but it's actually these spirits trying to save your life. I do think that spirits sometimes do that. Sometimes I think spirits can be really angry, but I do also think that some spirits want to save you from the fate that they've had, whether it be by helping you or just scaring the shit out of you. But I found it really interesting, and I really wonder, like, is it really defying gravity? Because I do believe that there are some points in the world, much like the Bermuda Triangle, that really defy physics and defy our dimension and reality. And maybe this could be one of those areas. This next legend, really it's more of a story a lot of people know about because it has to do with UFOs, and that is the UFOs above Mount Rainier. So I believe in 1947, a pilot named Kenneth Arnold was flying, and he witnessed, I keep losing my train of thought, he witnessed 3 UFOs floating above Mount Rainier. A lot of people really took his word into consideration because he was a very reputable man. He was very honest, so they believed him. But what I found very interesting about this story was that this incident happened about 2 weeks before the Army were going to announce a UFO crashing in Roswell, but they decided not to announce that or really issue that report, and they decided to kind of not share it with anybody because I believe of that reason. I think that happened. They saw the UFOs and they decided, you know what, we're actually not going to announce this. We're going to keep this on wraps as much as possible. Well, I do believe this. I do, because I believe in UFOs. I believe in aliens. I believe in other life. I do think that this could be potentially a story from people who are really, what's the right word? Avid believers in aliens and UFO crashings. While I do think that our government does hide a lot of stuff from us, and I do think that maybe there was a crash in Roswell, I do also think that maybe this could have been a story that someone made up. I do think that people have seen UFOs above Mount Rainier, because that's not the only story that has happened with UFOs above Mount Rainier or near Mount Rainier. A lot of people have actually had UFO experiences and witnesses. A lot of people have said they've been abducted. So that's something that I think could have potentially happened. And what's really sad is there's so many people out there who possibly this could have happened to. They actually got abducted. They actually saw aliens. And they could be overshadowed by the people who are faking it for media, who aren't who are taking it the wrong direction. And it's making everyone who possibly could have had this experience look like idiots. And that's what's really sad. But I do believe that this happened, and I'm sure there's more into it that I didn't really look up. But I think Mount Rainier is one of those places that is kind of like Skinwalker Ranch or like Lake Erie in Pennsylvania, that is really a hotbed for certain kinds of activity. And the last legend that I'm going to talk about is my favorite legend. That's apparently how this is going to go, is I'm going to save my favorite legend for last. And this is the Steps to Hell legend. So apparently 20 miles outside of Seattle, there is a cemetery called Maltby Cemetery. And apparently there was a staircase with 13 steps leading below a family Coliseum, tomb. We're just going to go family tomb. There are 13 steps leading down into a family tomb. The legend goes that if you go down all 13 steps, you will witness hell, or the gates of hell. You'll see into hell. And a lot of people who actually do this and witness it, according to the legends, go absolutely insane. They lose their mind. They see hell and they just go insane. A lot of people say that children have walked down the stairs and have come back up and have never spoken again because of the fear. A lot of people have said that people have started to go down the stairs and collapse in fear, which makes sense because you're being told you're going to go down these steps and you're probably going to see the worst thing that you have ever seen before. And your mind is going to build this up in your head. And then you're going to collapse because you're scared. But also, just maybe, people have seen these things. Now, this is one of those things that I am not going to fuck with. Because it's like, the possibility is too great. It's like, maybe you'll see hell, maybe you won't. I don't want to take that chance of potentially seeing hell, and my mind just being like, nope, no more, I'm done. But apparently, they bulldozed over these steps. At some point, I don't know when, but the stairs don't exist, or they exist, but they're just under dirt. And there are a lot of people say that allegedly kids and other people will break into the cemetery and try to dig up the stairs so they can go down them, which again, why? Granted, I am one of those people that sees an abandoned building and wants to go in it, or hears about a haunted hotel or house or something like that, and I want to go there. So, I mean, or like the tunnels in Ogden, Utah, I want to go in them. The tunnels in Paris or France, I want to go in those. So, I mean, I guess it's like one of those things. It's like, pick your poison, I guess. Take your chances. Maybe you'll see something, maybe you won't. But, you know, to me, it's a 50-50 chance. And maybe I'd be willing to take that chance, but it really depends on how I feel in the moment. But this one's my favorite legend, mostly because a lot of people believe that the number 13 is a really unlucky number. But in some cultures and some religions, it's a really very, very positive number, and that's where I live. I live on that side where I think that it's a really positive, good luck number. I don't live on the side that believes it's the number of the beast or one of the numbers of the beast. But my belief system is very convoluted and different. And it's not wrong to believe that. Some people believe that the number 9 is lucky, but the number 7 isn't. Some people believe like certain colors and smells and sounds are more positive. Some believe they're negative. It's really all about belief and what you believe. And I believe that if you believe in something, how many times can I say believe? I think that if you believe in something enough, it can be real to you. And a lot of it has to do with belief and intention. And so if you believe it, it'll probably happen. So there you go. Those are some urban legends from Washington. I'm sorry that this video was more extremely off balance. Most of my videos have been lately. It's been really hard for me to like form a thought the past couple of days. Even if I get enough sleep, I'm taking my multivitamins, stuff like that. It's just been really hard to form a thought because I've been really stressed, and we got new people at work that I've been helping train, so it's been kind of like hard to like plateau out and relax. I'm a very hummingbird person, and it's really hard for me to just kind of stop and take a moment. Also, I have to work in a few hours, and then I decided, you know what, I'm gonna just make a video, call it good. But yeah, thank you for joining me in this video, and if you are interested in hearing any urban legends from a different state, let me know. I'm excited to read urban legends of states that are like, I guess, not as well known. So like people like know California, New York, and places like Seattle, places like that. But I want to do something that's like Maine, or a place that's not like as talked about as often, I guess. I don't know, maybe it's not talked about that much in my world. But anyway, I don't know, I find them really interesting. And if you know of any urban legends that are really cool, like small town urban legends that you can't really find on the internet, that would be really so freaking cool. But yeah, and yeah, so as I said, extremely off balance, so I'm not necessarily sure how to end this video. So thank you for joining me in this video. If you liked it, go ahead and give it a thumbs up, and if you want to subscribe, I'm trying to make videos weekly, and I'm trying to upload them, but sometimes things happen. So yeah, if you want to subscribe, please, that'd be really great. And I hope that you have a wonderful day and a beautiful night, and this is Kat signing off. Goodbye!